Hey guys, pulled in this Kia Santa Fe. It's Hunter and Jessica's. Aaron's son and his girlfriend. But you could hear the control arm. So that's what we're going to fix. A little bit of oil spewing from somewhere. Check that out, but you could hear whenever I just started. She's a noisy one. All right, guys, I took the caliper off. You could take the whole bracket off at once. That works really good if you're on a lift, but on the ground, and plus I like taking the caliper off and the bracket separate. So that way you get to look at the brakes, look at the inside of them, give them a little bit of grease, send it on its way. But the 17 millimeter on the top bolt, you have to use a wrench. There's not much clearance there at all. See how close that is to the strut. So I'll just put 17 mil on the back like that. I just hit it with a hammer to break it loose, and it's good and loose. On the bottom one, you could use a socket. All right, guys, I didn't look nothing up. We're going to just do this logically. We're going to have to take off the stabilizer link from one end. I'm going to probably go for this one. It's easier sitting on my chair here. We're going to take off this tie rod end. Then we're going to separate the lower ball joint and hopefully just pull this whole thing off of the ball joint. And then we got one bolt back there and the other bolt there. We're going to see what kind of, sometimes they're tricky to get to. No, sometimes they're not, but these look pretty straight up. Now, these still have the cotter pin. Sometimes they're rusted through, not on the axle, but on the tie rod ends. But this one I could move, so that's going to be easy picking. I think I had it off for something else. I replaced the struts, but I don't think I would have had that off. But either way, just I hit them with the cat piss a little bit. Leave them sit. Not leave them sit, but just do that first. This stuff works, you know, a little bit right away, but it's mainly long term. If you could leave it sit overnight, you're better off, but anything's better than dry. Got him out. And then we have one on this. Little hammer pliers. Right, now I'm going to get the sizes for these. It's easy why I got my socket here, just see if I'm going to have to get a deep well naturally, but too small. And this one was what, 17 mil? Yep. So, let's try 18. Yes, 18 mil. This one, we'll see if we can spin off right now. There we go. We'll get him in a minute. Now I'm going to use this dead blow to release the tie rod. I don't want to hit the camera there. Right, now I'm going to just use this dead blow, and I'm going to hit the spindle right here until that pops down. Whoops. Cyclone really ain't working. Hey guys, I'm back. Got a bigger hammer. This is Mr. Sluggo. He's knocked out many a tie rod and ball joint. He's gonna need a boot soon, or need a tie rod anyway. No. Yeah, move the camera out of the way to get a better swat at it here. It's a tough one. There we go. Well, tough guy. Look at you now. Okay, I'm not going to take the heat shield off. Sitting on my chair, I could get under here pretty decent. See that cotter pin down there in that bolt? That's what we have to get on. The other side of that bolt's a 17 millimeter. I'm going to just use, I don't know if I can hold it while I do it or not. Kind of a tight spot. I might re-grab the phone here. There we come. There we go. Oh, that's all we want now. I have to drill him out to run through. No, something's moving. Hey, we got a piece. If they do break off in there, you just run the bolt out. Yeah, preferably with an impact or an electric impact. But the cotter pin itself is much softer than the bolt. And if you get a drill bit that same size or a little bit smaller, it'll chew the cotter pin right out of there pretty easy. So if that happens to you, don't really worry too much. All right, on the back side, I'm just holding it with a 1/2-inch wrench and a 17 millimeter. And on this side, I'm just going to go with the Cobalt electric and just straight in on that nut. Shouldn't be any problem. All right, we're gonna see if I can fit in here. And I just feel down to where it's at. It's a tight spot. You can't even get a wrench in it, so. That's what we Shoot some cat piss on the bolt. Anywhere it's dry, when you take a bolt off, if you see dry metal, that's whenever it absorbs this. So you want everything, even in here, I was spraying it when I was beating on that spindle for the tie rod end. Doesn't do much, but it helps. Use it and pray. These are 19 millimeter, the bolts, or the nuts, and the bolts are 17 millimeter again. Seems like Hyundai stuck with 17 millimeter repeating them, almost like Volkswagen. Okay, get back on there. It's even hard to get a flex head on that. From underneath would probably be the best, but I don't feel like getting under it yet. Okay, there, get on it there. It's golden pretty good. There it goes. I was gonna say, if we can't move it, I was gonna get out the air hammer, use the Eric O bumper technique. That does work. If I wanted to move, I'd have put the nut on it, and I don't have an air hammer as big as his, but you know, a little one makes a little difference on these bolts. If you put the nut back on it, even if you put it on backwards and even with the head and hit it with one of them air hammer bumpers, it'll drive it through. But we got it loose, and as I turn it, I'm gonna just hit it with a little more lubricant. Turns a little bit easier and easier every time, but it still is going to be a little bump or need a bump. So what I'm going to do is, you know, same thing. I'm going to put this on the bolt backwards, and I'm going to use a punch first. And I don't think we're going to have to use the air chisel, but if we got to, we got to, you know. Okay, if you see what I did, I put the nut on backwards. So that gives me like a good center shot at the head of that bolt. So that's all I'm going to do. And when you're doing anything with suspension, these are something that come in the handiest. Just drift pin punches. You get them in the bolts to line the struts up. Something like this, we're putting that right on the bolt. And I'm going to give this Icon a chance. I just got this when they had their early Black Friday sale in the summer, or you know, spring. So it was 20% or 40% off Icon hammer, something like that. And got it pretty cheap, but still had to get out Mr. Sluggo to take out that tie rod end. Usually do. There's a bigger one somewhere too. And we got that one if we needed it, but one way or the other, it's coming out. All right, let's see how this works out. We're going to use this one first. It fits right in the side of the nut, so we're making contact with that. Get a little light back here. You can turn it or see from the side, but okay, right through. Now I can take the nut off. And just watch you unhit the threads and put this right on the tip of the bolt. Right out the other side. And before I swing this out, the strut, I'm not going to take the speed sensor out of the spindle, but I'm going to pull it out of this rubber grommet, and then I'm going to excuse the little squeaks, but there's another 10 millimeter bolt right here. Well, you can't really see it from there. Right there. And then that's just going to give this wire a little bit more slack. So whenever we pull the spindle outwards, we're not really going to be yanking that wire that hard. All right, guys, I don't know what size this bolt or nut actually is, but this is 1.25 inch deep well. It fits, you know, perfect. All right, good job. And same thing, we're going to make sure this is loose. Hit it a little bit. And then just put either that punch, or if you're not comfortable without it fitting a hole, find one that, you know, goes in and you're not going to damage it. You just want to push it and make sure it moves, that's all. See how it moves? That's good. It's not going to come out or go anywhere yet, but you want to make sure it moves. Okay, next, this is a 19 millimeter. This is a sway bar link. If you get lucky, it'll come right off. If not, we have to put an Allen key in there and turn it with a wrench to hold the stud still. But we're going to see how our luck's holding up. See how it's spinning? So, I'm just going to get a socket, and you could use an Allen key, you could use whatever you got, put in here, and then we're going to have to get a 19 millimeter wrench. Alright, my Cobalt set of ratchet wrenches did not include a 19 millimeter. I ordered one off Amazon. This is at Tecton. I kind of like these wrenches. I mean, the price is right, and if you need like if you got a set that skips numbers, you could just get the individual one. I don't know if it's going to work for me now, but very little room. But that's what you have to do, and you put your wrench or your ratchet on tighten to hold it still. And this is a 5 millimeter I'm using. And got a little. And then the wrench or the ratchet will wedge itself with a little luck. It's a 6-point in there too. I kind of like that about them. It's hard, a lot of places around here don't stock the bigger ones individually, but that's pretty cool. You could order them like that. Makes a nice clickety clack. You could even turn the ratchet if you like, but sometimes all I just hear in the clicks. And you're still gonna fight me. All right. That's the way you want to be. Wouldn't fight me for one turn there. Still trying. Here we go. I'm going to put that one special side. And that's just going to let us, you don't want to have to fight that stabilizer arm whenever you're pulling the strut out. Now next I'm going to pop that ball joint out. Here's see what I did with the, there it is. On this, we're replacing the lower ball joint with the lower control arm. So I'm using this old pickle fork. If this thing could talk, man, I'd be embarrassed. But there's a look at it in the back. Let me get the light. Nope. And there's where I'm going to go with the pickle fork. Straight on that lower ball joint. I'm going to just pound it right in there. Okay guys, I don't think I have to use the pickle fork. I put this on. This is a pretty neat little tool somebody invented. I got it off Amazon. It just goes around the lower control arm. It works on a lot of cars. Some cars, if this is cast, it doesn't grab as good. But on this kind of control arm, these things work great. Now, I'll just give them a little tap to make sure we're getting the most leverage we can. And then you just take the crowbar and you slide it in that hole like that. You can see it up top coming out. Now you could use that to pry, and whenever I pried, it's already loose. So all I really need is this tool. It does work better on the lift, but I still have enough room on the ground to shake it like that. You get further away, you could pry it down. But now I'm going to take out that bolt that I haven't yet, and then I'm going to pry down on this to pop out the axle, and then just pull the whole strut towards me. Alright guys, now I got the crowbar on the bottom still. Gonna move my light. There we go. Okay. The axle isn't giving us much reach. There we go. Got to go under this plastic shield. Be nice if we could go up in between that way. I'm going to pull it out the back. I'm going to press it down again and get this out of the way. Get the heat shield crunches. There. There, it gives us a little more room, and that should be fine right where it's at. Now the ball joint's off. I'm going to just take off these two bolts and put the new control arm on now. If you have a lift or something, or if you're really that serious about it, you could change this arm by itself, but you're going to be doing it from underneath. This is pretty cool, and you get to, inspect everything as you put it back together. Okay, this bolt's a 19 millimeter here. Okay, nut spinning. Let me see what size that is. I'm just gonna guess 17. No. I think we got another 19. Nope, it's an 18 guys. Nope. We scoot over. The 18 don't fit. Oh, my mistake must be the 19. Yes. I'm sorry, guys. Made me look like an idiot. go, got the bolt. Put them back together so you don't lose them. Now we're going to look over to this bolt. Let me get you a good view of it. See it back there? There's a bolt there and the nut that goes around the back. It'll be back in here. So you'll see the easiest way to get it looks like from up here. The back, sometimes you got to move these sway bars to get clearance. But let me see. Boy, that's right up against that sway bar down there. I don't know if you could see where I'm looking, but the sway bar is touching it right there. We have this off, so we should be able to pick it up a little bit. Okay, guys, I'm going to see if I'm using 2 impact wobblers and an impact 19 millimeter. I'm pretty sure that bolt's not going to be welded to the back of it. It's going to spin too, or the nut rather. But I'm going to see if Cobalt might have met its match with this. It's spinning. Wow. Because with the extensions, you lose torque. You lose a lot of torque. And I got 2 on there. Pretty good job, guys. I mean, I'm impressed with this thing. All right, that 19 millimeter wrench fits right under that sway bar. And it's going right on that nut. So we're going to see if this little Cobalt will spin it. That should. If it breaks it free, it'll usually spin it unless that nut's really, you know, galled, but it doesn't appear to be. Okay, let me move you back a little. We do the same thing, just hold it down here. Okay, it came right out. Now I'm going to just run it this way and give it a little bit of help with my finger there. And there we go. Now both bolts are loose. The axle's free to float around. There's nothing else in our way. Let me get a little bit light up here. Where'd that crowbar go? There we go. What I'm going to do is just get this bar in the back up against the little subframe. I'm going to pull the back split out. I'm going to do the same thing with the front. There goes the back. Just got to show who's boss, that's all. This one's tore here. That might be our squeaky. Let me get some light on it. See where the bushing's tore? 2 places. Same on the back, you can see it tore up here. Hope that's focusing on it. This one, hard to tell. Oh yeah, it's cracked the whole way around. Look around the rubber. I hope that enhances. But you could see around the inner sleeve, that's cracked. So yeah, she was pretty bad. Ball joint's loose, but you know, it wasn't giving us a problem. Now we're gonna get the new ones out. Or new one for right now. All right guys, we're going for a Detroit axle lower control arm. I've never had any problems with their parts. I heard a couple stories, but I mean, I hear a lot better things than worse. I've used, I don't know, realistically, probably 40 or 50 times ordered from them for ministry vehicles or my own. But yeah, they're if you're in a bind, it's good parts, cheap, and they have free shipping. On Rock Auto, you have to pay the shipping too, so keep that in mind. With Detroit Axle, they have free shipping, so that's kind of a plus. Hey guys, there we have it. Well packaged, and it has the lower ball joint in it, just like we wanted. Okay, they appear to be identical. We still got the protector on the ball joint. We're going to leave that on there for now. But what I'm going to do is put the back piece in first, and then the front piece has something to rest on. So you just kind of wiggle it in there and it'll support itself. Now I'm not going to torque the bolts. I use blue Loctite. You know, you do what you feel you got to do, but you know, this is what I do. All right, and this is kind of the fight you're going to be in for. Don't be scared though. So that goes in the front. We're going to pull that up in the back, and it's just going to hang here while I get the bolt. Then I'm going to put the Loctite on it. And see if I could get it and hold from here. That's again where these drift pins are going to come where it punches. Whenever you get it close, you could put this in the hole to pull it in straight. I don't know if you can see back there, but the punch is in the hole like the bolt should be. See the punch right there? There's plenty of room to get it in there. And when it fits that round, you're going to have room for the bolt. That's what we're after. Then we're going to just wiggle the bolt right back to where it came from. If there's room, you could use the punch from behind. Oh. Maybe. No, you can't. There's not enough room for that. But what we're going to see is if it's lined up enough to tap through. No, so we know we have to move the control arm to get it out of the other side. But we got to line it up in the front too. I don't know how good you can see this, but we're off a little bit here. And sometimes as you line things up, the other one's going to line up a little bit. This is a Harbor Freight hammer I call Orange Crush. It's this one you're pretty safe beating on control arms with, or anything that you want to move. Really cheap too. We're almost to where we could get the punch in alignment hole. I'm going to just hold the control arm almost flat to see if that gets me a little. actually going to put a little lubricant in it to help. This damn dust shield. But now that's a little bit too small for the punch I have. I'm going to get a smaller punch. Because if you see, the hole's almost lined up. But that big punch isn't going to fit in there. Alright, that's just a small punch I made out of metal. I couldn't even get this one to fit in. I just ground this down a while ago. I keep sharpening it. It could fit in the hole right there. What I'm going to do, where's my big guy? I'm going to just see if I can tap it down. Don't want to hit you too hard. Getting closer. I don't know if we could get a bigger one in yet. This one might be too big. Not much room to hit them, but you know, we'll check it with the bolt, see if it's close at all. Does have to come through the bottom. And we're not close there yet. There's not enough room for that guy. So back to the little one, and if I have to get under it to line the bottom hole up. Still not getting under it. I was able to use the little one, this one, to get it enough to get this one in, and then you got more room to pound anyway. See how it's coming straight out the top. This is a good punch. That's when I had it in this way. There wasn't enough room to hit it. This one's great. And this is probably the one I use the most. And believe me, I use them all. I'll see if the bolt goes right up in it. And we're so close with this. See if that was enough. See, now I don't want to get on the bottom. Alright. All I'm going to do is get the nut. I'm going to get a rag and clean this off a little bit and put some Loctite in it. I believe I'm out of brake clean. Okay, no brake clean when you need it, but I wiped that off with a rag. What I'm going to do is put a little Loctite on the bolt and put the nut on it. You don't need much. That's actually more than would do the job, but you know, that's a little like safe side of heavy. Okay, now I'm not going to tighten it until we get the front one. It goes the whole way through. I wish we could use a drift pin on it, but we're going to get it. Yeah, I could feel the tip of it now that we got this in alignment. I'm going to see if giving it a shot with the punch drives it through. That would be sweet. Just on the head of the bolt. There it is. All right. No brake clean, but luck's on our side. Yeah, and just the same thing. I'm going to tighten them up. I'm going to use the same contraption I made the first time. Get back in there. That's, I mean, you're going to have a hard time with a torque wrench if that's your method. I think I got it from the bottom last time. One more for good measure. That's just because you lose torque with extension, so that's why that Loctite's gonna, you know, you're gonna sleep better at night knowing it's on there. All right, the same thing on the front one. Got to keep that down. That's what you want to do, is pinch it down a little bit, because this is, it's like putting a shock in or putting a strut in. It's not been spread yet, so you want to make sure you crank down on it. You know, at least put some torque on it. If you're doing it by hand, you know, almost as tight as you could get it. Okay, next we're going to get the ball joint into the lower part of the spindle. But if you don't have one of them S tools like I use, there's still, you see there's a little notch behind there to pry on right here. If you put your pry bar underneath there, you could push down that control arm pretty good. It's, you know, this is the way I usually did them. I picked up that little tool on Amazon. What it does is it's just simple leverage. It's bringing you out to here or wherever you put it on, so you have a longer lever. The longer the crowbar too, I mean, you get more leverage on it, but you know, big enough lever you could move the world. Okay guys, I was able to take this Craftsman pry bar and just pound it in between that cleat. And it looks like the bottom's going to go the whole way up for us. There we go. Now I just have to get this out of there. That was a tight one. See, it's still wedged in there. I don't know how much it actually moved it or if it even helped, but it seemed like the only thing I could do to get in there. Come on. See, she's stuck in there good. Maybe did open it up just enough. All right, I'm going to work on that. Need 2 hands. All right, guys, I got it all back together. Just make sure you put all your cotter pins in. Torque if you want. Make sure you put your ABS line back on. Caliper good and secure. Put some lube on the back of the pads. And then just make sure you tightened everything. And then he has a couple other things he wants me to look at, and we're going to get on to that. I use Loctite on a lot of suspension parts, but wheels, every time, torque them every time. That way, you know in your mind, it's just a peace of mind. Never let one go without torquing the tire. All right. He got some battery terminals. I think he got them off Amazon. Whenever I went to start it on the ramps, it wouldn't start. You had to twist the battery terminal. But the hole's a little bit smaller than the stud. See, it won't go on. So I got it with some vice grips. I'm going to just take, that would be a 5/16 bit. Just take that, ream it out a little bit. But you want to wear gloves and grab that with something, because these things will cut you if that drill bit grabs it. So you want to be away from it. I'm going to put some gloves on. All right, guys, I got the control arm on. That's all back together. I got the battery terminals on. That's all good. He does cut a lot of lawns. He brought his lawnmower out, and he wanted a new spark plug and a fixed rear, like the bagging hatch. But I never pass up a chance. Like if I get a reason to use the scope, H-scope so quick to set up, and at 512, I set it up, and I just put a rot key. It's a pickup for spark plug wires that you put over to get a waveform. I mean, even on a small engine, no matter what you got a snow blower, you got a generator. I mean, if it got a spark plug wire, get a waveform. I mean, it works great even on the chainsaw. You know, you could see the ignition pattern. I just hooked up straight to the tablet, the HS512, and then I just put the rod key spark plug lead over the wire. And I'm gonna, I'll probably put it on the screen recorder. It'll be easier for you to see the spark. I don't know if it does start. Seems to be gas in it, but we're going to see if it's throwing a spark at all. If I go down to 150, I could go to 8 milliseconds. This is just on regular oscilloscope mode. And got on a 1 volt scale. That looks good to me. I'm going to just pull the pull cord and see what happens. See if we get any image at all. Okay, we got something. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, being we seen something there, I'm going to go over to automotive module and pull it a couple times and get a capture of that. All right, it's the same deal. I'm going to keep this at 20 milliseconds. The probe's a 1 time. I'm keeping a 150 kilosample sampling rate, and then I'm going to hit record. Then I'm going to just pull the cord a couple times, see if it starts. If it don't, we're going to still see what that pattern is. Looked like it possibly needed inverted, but can't tell till you record it. So here we go. All right, let's see if we've seen anything here. Let's see if that's saved. Looks like we got something on the bottom there. Stop the recording. Go back. What do we see here? Yep, needs inverted. She's shooting. And we do see a spark, even if it's weak. Wonder if the fuel's good. And I'm pretty sure he ran it this year, but sure doesn't want to start. If you're pulling it, it's still throwing a spark like that. I don't have a conversion rate for this probe, but just like a car, you could see the burn line. And this one's facing downward with no upward tick. It's probably flooding it. Sometimes around here we get that bad gas, and we even see oscillations there just from pulling it. That's pretty cool. But all in all, it is throwing a spark along that gap. Now that one's got a lean uptick. But all single cylinder engines, this works like a waste spark. This also fires on the exhaust stroke. There's no need time and ignition with a 4-stroke if you are, single cylinder. So, your lawnmower, you want to study waste sparks, that's what your lawnmowers do. If you notice, one of these has a high kV line and the next one don't. And this one has a high kV line. The next one don't. This one that doesn't have a lot of spark left, it's stressing the coil because it's firing into compression. These coils here are coil, magneto. This one would be firing on the exhaust with that much of a spike left. So that's pretty interesting, but it doesn't explain why it's not running. It has gas and it has spark. And they're coming with a spark plug on their way home, so I'm not really sure. We get gas around here. If you leave it sit all winter, you got to get it out of there. Yeah, spark plug didn't fix that one, guys. It's these things are pretty neat. They're not just for cars. I mean, it worked on a lawnmower like that. It'll work on anything. Anything with a chainsaw, like a spark plug, like a chainsaw, weed whacker, anything you have. I mean, I don't know who told him he needed a spark plug. I guess he just assumed, but before he even got here with it, we kind of knew that wasn't the spark plug. I mean, if it did fix it, I was going to have to figure out why. We had spark, it looked that good, but I mean, cheap sensor, those things are like $8. I mean, it saves you a lot of time. It's even quicker than using one of them spark testers. But all right, guys, we ordered a carburetor for it. I tried to free the needle and seat, and there's just something in the gas anymore. If you have the old summer gas in them, whenever you go to, or from last summer, if anything is in there, like without stable, it seems like the carburetor's gum up. That just gets in. Amazon, you could get one for $12. Don't even piss with them. Put one on and get it going. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Adios. And if either part of that helped anybody out, I mean, that's great. I mean, that's what it's all about, sharing what you know. There's nobody else around to do it with. So, and if it helped somebody out, one person, it's worth doing, man. All right, thanks. Adios.